and so much more. From farmers who believe
Yeah, no, it doesn't look too washed out.
It's all right. Oh, this is,
I don't know if it's gonna go any farther down.
it's all right. It's all right. Okay, it's all right.
Yes, as far as it goes. You don't need the keyboard anyway.
Except when I go to mute.
No, but you just use this.
Yeah.
Or you can use this. Well, you can use this.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Do you want to mute it now or not? Yes.
Yes, I want to mute.
And you're unmuted.
Unmute.
Okay. Never mind. Don't submit there. You're unmuted.
Hi, Raul.
Hi, how are you?
I'm not sure whether the meeting started. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I
perfect.
can't hear you.
You can maybe,
You're muted.
how about now? No,
Still can't hear you.
no. Mute. How about now? Can you hear me now?
We're waiting for Rabbi and Julie.
You can talk now.
I can see you, Raul,
I can
but I
hear you
can't
now.
hear you. I can see you, Beverly.
How about now? Can you hear me? No?
Do we have the voice on loud?
That's it. Because they can't see you.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I can,
Just
what do I do?
Oh, hi. Now I can hear you. I forgot my ear pods for my
Ah.
computer. That's what was going on. I had the problem.
can you hear
How
me?
are you? I can hear you well. Yes. How
Oh.
are you, Raul?
I'm doing fine, fine.
Great, great. Charlotte too?
Yeah, she'll be right back.
Do I need to do anything so she can see me?
No, I can see you.
The plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit higher. Do that
They
again.
can see
Do that
you.
again.
She
Yeah.
can? She can see
Yes.
me?
Yeah.
Okay,
I can see most of your face, Beverly. If you raise it,
oh, there
Yeah.
you go.
So
Move it
you
a
just
little
have
bit.
to, because
Well, it's because the chair is.
That's it. That's
Okay,
it. Move it
okay.
up and down a bit. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
How do we make it louder? Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna make it louder. So you can see all of them, and then.
See, this is new and I,
Hello. Hi, Carol.
Hello, Jan. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you and Ken
So
doing?
hold on, it's me here.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Great, great. Welcome, Marcia and Dick.
There.
How are you both?
There.
Oh, my beautiful tulips.
Yes, they're from the Boston
Perfect.
Common.
Okay.
How is it in Moraga? Is it smoky?
Oh, very smoky, very smoky. This morning was worse.
Now pull
We
up
were
the chair.
actually, it's my husband's, my in-laws yacht site, Leo's yacht site of blessed memory. And so we went to the cemetery at Pleasant Hill. And when you're over the hill, you can see all of the
You can
smoke
see.
all over La Marinda. It's a lot of smoke.
There's a lot of smoke in our house too in
People like
Concord.
Oh, is there? Okay, yeah,
We
yeah.
have friends in Vacaville and they're just, I think are gonna have to evacuate.
Oh, it's so tough to hear that. Very hard. Welcome, Yael and Arlene. How are you both?
Well, fine, fine. Thank you,
Oh,
Jen.
Good. It's good to see you.
Good, good.
Great. Yes, I saw you last Shabbat, I think. That was nice. Yes. Well, I'm glad you're here today. We are very excited to have Rabbi Shanks join us.
Yes.
Yes, they'll be
Now, will
along
we
shortly.
have the mute button? Will she put the mute button on?
I think she will. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. She or Julie, they're going to co-host. So
Okay.
they'll be here shortly. And Carol, nice to see you.
Hi, Jan. Thank you.
Hi. How was your trip to San Diego?
It was very nice. It was very nice. The best part was going to the beach and cooling off.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's great.
How's everybody?
That's-
Hi, Carol. Welcome home.
Warm.
Oh, thank you.
And then Helen Ann and Norm are coming to join us.
Hi.
Good to see you. Hello, hello, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
It's an easy commute to the temple these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank goodness we don't have to travel in the heat and the smoke
Yeah.
and wear masks and do all those things that we have to do. So we have to figure this is a silver lining to be here, right?
No
Right.
parking problem.
I don't know.
What was that?
No parking problem.
No
That's
park.
right. No parking problems. Yes. Oh, here's Arthur.
Hi, Arthur.
There he is. He's connecting. He's connecting in now. Arthur, it's Jan. How are you?
Good morning, Jan. Nice talking to you last night, I guess it was.
Yes, I'm glad you're with us today. It's wonderful
Well,
to see you. You can see
it
other
is.
people
Well-
there that you'll know probably too.
Well, it's
Yeah.
good to be on board. As
Great.
long as we're waiting, I'll tell you, one of my kids always tells me that I'm on the leading edge of last generation's technology. That's kind of where I'm at on Zoom.
Well, it's great
Well,
that
you're
you're
here.
here.
You made
I'm
it.
That's
glad to be here.
terrific. And you know Beverly Kibble's
Yeah,
up
looks
there
like
and
Beverly for a second.
yes.
Hello there.
Tilt
I
your,
saw you drive out early this morning.
tilt your thing up so I can see you better.
Yeah.
Yes, Beverly, we don't see all of your face.
Oh, that's because the chair's
Yeah.
low and I'm short. It's a.
There you
Ah,
go.
aha.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's better. That's better. Hi, Phyllis. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good
Hi,
to see you. Herb, you're connecting in too. That's nice. Herb and Marge.
Hi, everybody. So good to see your faces.
Hi, Julie.
Oh, Julie. Hi. Yes. Great to
Hi,
see
Julie.
you.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good.
Helen Ann, did I see you guys walking on Happy Valley Road one day?
Who is
Like
it?
for a walk?
Yes, we did.
Julie. I thought I saw you guys.
Helen
I
Ann.
drove by.
Hi there, kiddo.
Hi, Jan.
Oh, yeah, we got one.
Hey,
Hi,
Marcia.
Charlotta and
How
Richard.
are
Raul.
you?
Hi, Herb. Good to
Hi,
see
guys.
you. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
I
Great.
thought the lecturer on China was fabulous. Not good, fabulous.
Hi, Julie.
Thank
Hi.
you. Thank you, Marcia. He's a wonderful colleague of mine. And we're looking forward to
Rabbi.
being more active. We're looking-
Oh, Rabbi Shanks.
Hi, Beverly.
Look at everybody. Everyone's here.
Yes, we're here. So good to see you.
It's so fun to see everybody. Oh my gosh.
Hi, Rabbi Judy.
Yes.
Rabbi
Hi, Harold.
Hi. Wait, I gotta do more screens here.
Yes, there
Yeah.
should be. I've called a lot of people and I'm thinking that there will be a lot more people here today. Very
Okay, well,
excited to have
There
you.
will be.
we're still a few minutes out. Dan's in a field of tulips, it looks like.
Judy, how's the
Yes.
smoke? Judy, how's the smoke on your side of the
The
hill?
smoke is very bad here.
That's what I was afraid of.
Here too.
Yeah, I was supposed to play tennis later, but I canceled.
Mm,
So
Good
my
idea.
son and
Yeah.
my son in Berkeley says they have ashes all over their cars.
We've got a little bit. I don't see a lot, but I did see a little bit on the patio. Uh-oh. Whose happy dog is that?
Everywhere.
They closed the campuses, Cal State.
Oh, they did.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Well, it's Tahoe. We're at Tahoe and you can't even see the lake.
You can't see the lake?
No.
But it's
But it's
Oh.
not, it's smoky looking, but you can't, but it doesn't smell smoky.
Oh, it smells
Oh, it
here.
doesn't? Oh, it smells
You
a
can
lot.
smell it. Yeah.
It smells in Walnut Creek too.
Yeah.
Yeah, smelling. Smell.
Oh, my goodness. Well, everybody has to stay indoors because it's
Right.
hot and dangerous out there.
supposed to recognize people. Hi, Norm. Norm, hi. Say
Norm
something.
likes sitting in the background. I know that already.
He doesn't say a word.
From our Omer class, he sits back.
This is almost as fun as Friday night, seeing everybody's faces come on like this. I love it.
Hi, Carol.
Julie, do
And
I have
Ken.
to do anything to be co-host or not?
I already made you the co-host, so you should have all the
So-
co-host things at the bottom of your screen.
Okay, I'm on a, let's see, I'm on an iPad, so it's a little different.
And
Are
just
you
so that
staying-
everybody, I'm gonna be
Julie,
here.
are you staying on?
Yes.
Okay, so I can, if we go into rooms, then I'll let you take care of that.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, today we are recording our Wise Ones, which we're going to do from now on so that folks who are unable to join us can watch it at a later time. And if that makes you uncomfortable and you don't want your picture on the recording, you are welcome to unpicture yourself. However, we would all be sad not to see your smiling face. So I hope that you stay with us along the way.
Great. It's so nice to see you all. Hi, Carol and Miriam, Kim, Gloria, Susan. Another Carol. Yes. Great. Carol Cook.
Yes, hi.
She's a new member, so welcome her. That's great.
Welcome, Carol.
Yes.
Hi.
And
Hi, Kim.
and who's up
Boy,
there in the
everyone's
corner?
hair, everyone's hair has gotten kind of long.
Yeah.
I'm
And
looking at
gray.
Lucy, I don't think I've ever seen you with hair that long. Not for a while.
No, that is.
I also think it's amazing how we've all turned gray overnight.
Well, it's
Not great
overnight.
yet. Sorry, guys.
Took me a whole year.
Oh, wow. Wow.
4 months.
4 months.
4
Wow.
months. Yeah.
Wow. That
I've
was
Short
still
hair.
got, I've still got brown in my long hair. On my face, it's all gray.
Hey, Julie.
You're lucky, not me.
Great. It's so good to see you all.
Okay.
All right.
So,
So it's 12:01.
Yeah. Go ahead, Julie.
We're going to go ahead and begin, and there are folks surely that will continue to join us, but I'm super excited to see you all. As always, Jan and I are happy to welcome you back to our regular time of Wise Ones, and we've managed to figure out the curriculum for the rest of, yeah? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've managed to figure out the curriculum for the rest of 2020, and we'll be putting our heads together working on 2021.
Wow.
And when the RUOC comes out in September, which will be mailed to you in September, just so you all know, you'll get a paper copy.
Even if
It'll
we,
have, even what?
even if we don't normally.
That I don't know, but we haven't been mailing them for the past several months. So we are going to actually mail a paper one for the high holiday edition.
Okay.
And so you'll be able to see the upcoming months. But a sneak peek is today we have Rabbi Shanks, as you know, and we're so lucky and grateful. And next month we have Rabbi Perlman. So we're having a clergy couple of months in a row since we had Rabbi Levine last month. To start us off, you guys know how much I love to have a prayer. And I wanted to share something with you that Rabbi Levine taught me. He said there are 4 types of prayers. There's a prayer that says, wow, There's a prayer that says, thank you. There's a prayer that says, please. And then there's a prayer that says, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And those are sort of the 4 types of prayers that we have. And I think today I'm feeling maybe the wow. I'm grateful. And I always try to come back to gratitude. And I have heard it said that could we just have a more perfect storm of things going wrong? And it feels that way sometimes, but I still come back to gratitude because I'm here and you're here and I get to see all your faces and joy. Yeah. So I'm going to offer you a meditation. Meditation for today. God, help me through this day. Guide me towards kindness, gentleness, and peace. Grant me strength and endurance, courage and humor, so that I may do your will with a full heart, in joy and in love. Grant me wholeness, a day filled with wonder and awe. Then, God of all being, I will become a source of
42,
blessings,
that's nice.
a bearer of your light in the world. That's one of our favorite poets from the Grateful Heart. And I just love him, Alden Solovey. I'm grateful that he came to Temple Isaiah. I'm also grateful that my daughter bought me a vegan milkshake this morning. I would like to offer the floor to Herb Eater to give us a little update on Ollie, and then I will turn the floor over to Rabbi Shanks. Herb?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. First of all, thank you, Julie, and thank you, Jan, for giving me this opportunity to tell you about our Fall Ollie program. In fact, I just received the program in the mail this morning, and this is a collector's item. Please, if you receive one, hold on to it. It is our very last hard copy program after 20 years of programming. From now on, we will be online only. And this program begins in September and goes through the end of the year, beginning in January with our winter program. We will be online only. And if we can whip this pandemic, and we hope that you're all well, we hope that you're all keeping hydrated and keeping inside in the air conditioning, then we will begin a hybrid program probably next summer or next fall. We're offering about 17 courses online, and in the Sunday e-Ruach, the electronic Ruach that Jen Boxerman puts out, you'll notice an article from me under the community heading, and it will give you 3 courses that I think you might be interested in taking. And please check it out. Come and join us in lifelong learning. We have wonderful instructors and wonderful courses. And those of you who have taken courses or come to lectures know how exciting and nurturing it is. So thank you very much, Julie, for the opportunity to tell everybody.
Thank you, Herb. We appreciate that. And we look forward to participating in Ollie as we are able. And there's one other thing I just wanted to remind you about before I turn the floor over to Rabbi Shanks, which is something that she's also helping us with and participating in, is the Elul Plus 10 program, which is beginning tomorrow night, I think at 5 o'clock. The kickoff information session is tomorrow night. If you haven't already signed up and you're interested, go to the Shavua Tov that Herb just referenced, and there's a sign up button in there to join us. It's 40 days of things to think about during the high holidays. And it seems to be a very nice, I think there's about 100 people signed up. So it'll be a nice large group working through the month of Elul. And now, without further ado, I'm so excited to listen to some Rabbi Shanks, because that is just a treat for all of us. And I'm going to mute everybody, which is not anybody's favorite time of day, but I'm going to mute all, and then Rabbi Shanks can unmute herself, and then we will begin our meeting.
Thank you so much, Julie. Let's see if I can put myself here. Okay. It is so fun to see everyone. I'm just trying to go through the screens. I wish I could say a special hello to everyone by name, but just please know how much my heart is singing to see all your faces. I miss you all. I feel, as you do, keenly the sense of loss that all of us feel not being able to be together, not being able to walk into the sanctuary and greet you, pray with you, sing with you. It's so hard. I know it's just such a hard time. I'm so happy that the temple and the clergy and the leadership, like Julie and Jan, are keeping Temple Isaiah open even when the doors are closed. We're doing all this good work to stay connected as a community. So I'm feeling close to all of you, and I wish I could give all of you a hug. So just know a virtual hug is coming out to each and every one of you. And for those of you, I think there are a couple people here I don't know that are new to the temple. I'm so happy to meet you, and I hope we'll get to meet in person sometime soon. For those of you who have lived in community with me for over 20 years, you know that one of my favorite things to do is to think about, read about, and tell stories. You know that lots and lots of times when I was preaching, when I was giving a sermon, I would include in that sermon stories either from my own life, from people's lives that I knew, or stories that come from our tradition. And I didn't certainly invent that. I inherited the power of stories from Jewish tradition. Our faith was built, as you know, on the stories of the Torah and the Hebrew Bible as it continued with the prophets and the writings, and then the Midrash, and all of the texts that followed so closely the understanding that we learned in the Torah that stories are what people remember. If you can just put up your hands when I ask you this question, we'll see that that is the case. If I were going to ask you to tell me a story about one of your parents, how long would it take you? Just put up 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 minutes. How long would it take you to think of one story about one of your parents? One, lots of ones, lots of ones. And raise your hand if it took you less than a minute to think of a story. Okay. So we all have stories that we hold in our hearts that help us remain connected even to people who are gone and who fill our lives with memory. Now, not all those stories might have been the most positive stories. I hope some of them were positive. But whatever the content of the story, they still kept us connected to our past. That's what Judaism understood very quickly, that what we were going to remember when we remembered who we are as a people, we were going to remember the stories that we learned, the stories that have a narrative, that have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and lots of times, not always, but lots of times have a not just meaning, but a moral and a teaching, not just about how to be good. Certainly a lot of Jewish stories are about how to be good, but a story about what it means to be human. What it means to be human. Because the stories in the Torah and throughout the Jewish corpus of learning often have kind of an unsavory characters as their protagonists. Why? Because we all have unsavory parts of ourselves that we recognize in these characters. And the hope is that when we recognize ourselves in good, better, best people, and not so good, worse, and worst people, we're going to put ourselves back on the path to being better, which is where we're going in this month of Elul, we hope. We're going to think about the stories of the year that just passed, the stories of our own lives, which this year are beyond imagining. None of us in our wildest dreams could have imagined that we would be living the stories we're living today when we entered Rosh Hashanah last year. Nobody. If Rabbi Perlman had stood on the bima last Rosh Hashanah and said, hold on to your seats, next year you won't be able to hold on to those seats. Next year, you are not going to be in these seats. Guess what? Next year, you're going to be in a little box on a screen. And that's how we're going to celebrate high holidays. You would have, I don't know what, laughed, screamed, thrown things. Maybe you would have put honey on the seat and stuck yourself to it so no one could pull you out of that sanctuary. So here we are living these stories in a very aberrant time. And these are going to be the stories that we carry with us into the next few years, God willing, and that we tell to our kids and our grandkids, and they tell us their stories. And that's what's going to connect us, and that's what's going to help us understand who we are as a people and who we are as we have glimpses and moments where, as Abraham Joshua Heschel says, he says, stories are where heaven and earth meet, where heaven and earth meet. What does he mean by that? What does Heschel mean by that? He means that when we hear a story that helps us understand who we are as human beings and as Jews, when we hear those stories, we get this little hint and sense that there's something more in the world than just the common day and the humdrum, just the as in Hebrew it's called Chol and Kodesh, the everyday and the holy. And Heschel says where the everyday and the holy meet in a story that helps us move forward in our lives or see something we didn't see before, an insight, an understanding, a glimpse of the sacred. Some people call that God. Some people call it holiness. Some people call it sanctity. When that story moves us in that direction, aha, we have that moment where heaven and earth meet. Now, our people, of course, have been doing this for a very long time, helping us read this, even the same stories over and over again to help us understand who we are as humans and who we are in the world, with each other, with God, with our community, with the greater world, that people we don't know, but we know have an impact on our lives. So the master story, if you were going to ask me, what's the master Jewish story? Who would answer? I can unmute you for a second. What's our master, or maybe Julie, you can be my helper. Raise your hand if you would have a guess at our master Jewish story, our linchpin Jewish study. Okay, Carol Ogren is, I don't know if you can unmute yourself.
Oh.
Okay, now you're unmuted.
The Exodus from Egypt.
Absolutely. How many people were guessing the Exodus? Raise your hand if you guessed the Exodus as our master story. Did anyone have a different guess? Raise your hand if you had a different guess, and Julie can unmute you. Julie, are you there to unmute?
Yeah, Judy, go ahead.
I was thinking of Moses receiving the 10 Commandments.
Ah, okay. Wrong. Sorry, Judy. Okay, we're going to go with, I'm joking, Judy, of course. Why is the Exodus story, and not the 10 Commandments, which is a very good guess, why is that our most important story? What does that story do that shapes everything everything and who we are in every way. Julie, I don't know if it's too hard. If you see hands and you can unmute quickly, and we'll just have a few answers. So Helen Ann, I see her hand.
Helen Ann, unmute your, yeah, there you go.
Leave and we grow.
I'm sorry, say it a little louder.
Leave home and we grow.
Oh, nice. If you leave home, even if home is slavery, we're going to have growth. I love that. Thank you. Someone else? Marcia has her hand up. You have to unmute.
It's a taste of our first freedom that we have experienced.
Right? It's the taste of freedom, and it gets tasted again every year at Passover. So it holds us together to have that sense of freedom all together. Good. Someone else? Have a hand up? I'm looking. Susan.
Was beginning of our relationship with God.
Beginning of a different kind of relationship with God, right? It's not the beginning, because we had all that whole first family and Abraham and Sarah and all their descendants. We had a relationship, but that was an individual relationship with one family. It is definitely the beginning of our communal relationship with God. And that's where Judy Kraft's answer comes in. As a community, we accept the Ten Commandments, and then we have this communal relationship as well as an individual relationship. Absolutely. Maybe one more. I saw Miriam's hand is up in the...
Yeah, Miriam, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm trying.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You did it.
Well, that's a very important story, because the echoes of being slaves and going to freedom echo down the centuries for us in teaching us how to relate to others, especially others for whom life hasn't been so lucky. So this is, do this because remember, you were slaves in Egypt, and by my great arm and doings, I freed you. And so this is a continual reference that's in our conscious and subconscious that helps us act Jewishly.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you use the word help others, and especially those, I thought you were going to say, who are other. So the people who are made into others, as we were not human as slaves, we were other. We can bring it into today's world. We can talk about how people of color are othered, immigrants are othered, poor people are othered, all of the different groups that don't have the advantages that many of us have often get put into this other category that we can forget we were in. We were in that category a very long time ago, but not so long that we don't remember it. And why do we remember it? Because we tell the story over and over and over and over and over again. And each time we tell the story, we're not only reminded of the story, but it hits us in our kishkas, in our gut, to do something. It's not just a recognition. And again, that's the power of a story. When someone tells me, and I'll give you an example of a story, someone many years ago in my first congregation, so now we're going back 30 years ago, one of the members of my congregation was probably older than I am now, and she invited me to go to a luncheon, and it was a luncheon for Meals on Wheels volunteers. She was being honored, and I wanted to be there for her honoring. I got to lunch and I had no idea what she was being honored for and why she was being honored, but I got there and it turned out that her name was Ann Herod, may she rest in peace. She had, over the course of however many years she was a volunteer, delivered more meals than any other delivery person ever in all of the United States. When I retired, and I heard the story, and what I heard in the story was how Anne didn't just drop off the meal. Anne got to know everybody. And despite the fact that she visited with every single person and knew everyone by name and knew their story, knew their kids and their grandkids and what they needed and got them help, she still delivered more meals than anyone else ever delivered. When I retired, I remembered that luncheon. And I remembered Anne, who I remember a lot. And I started delivering meals on wheels. Because the story of the Exodus connected me to Anne's story. When people are othered, when they're poor and hungry, I can't just say, oh, wasn't that great that Anne delivered all those meals? God bless her. Someone else has to take Anne's place. Who's that going to be? Well, I'm not going to go point at other people before I do it myself. So the power of stories to motivate us to action is exactly why the Exodus story is our master story. It's about us. And there's one more piece I think the master story teaches us, our master story. And that is about the humility of leadership. And again, in our day and age, how important is that? To have a leader who has some humility, who has to learn, who has to listen, who has to understand that there are steps that need to be taken to create a better world, not just for some people, but for all people. And who is at the heart of the Exodus story is Moses. Moses, who doesn't feel that great about how he talks. He's not really connected so much with his people. It's like he was never a member of a congregation. He doesn't really know how to act in the group of Israelites. That's who God picks. And the story, the many stories we hear about Moses, but the story we hear about Moses most often is he was humble. He was humble. Who is Moses a counterpart with in this story? Another man who you don't know so much about, but you've heard the story, I think, and that's Nachshon. Nachshon is the guy who, when God split the Red Sea so the Israelites could escape to freedom, no one wanted to walk in. I don't know about you. I would have been a little nervous about walking in. If I saw a sea split in two, there's a path down the middle, I would have thought a couple times. I know how to swim, but it would have made me a little bit nervous. So Moses is holding up the staff, and no one's going in. And the rabbis teach us in the story that Nachshon ben Aminadab was brave enough. He said, "Follow me," and he goes in. And the water actually hadn't receded all the way. And it came up really up to his neck before it started going down. And when the other people saw that the water was going down, they followed Nachshon in. So Nachshon wasn't so humble like Moses. Nachshon showed us the other piece of this story, and that is that we have to take action. That when we see something that needs to be done, when we see leadership that needs to be followed, we also have to sometimes jump in outside our comfort zone. Why do I bring that story specifically about Nachshon and our master story? Because we're living in this time. And most of us are outside our comfort zone. Even though God bless us, like Julie said, we're so grateful All of us here, we're sitting in comfortable homes. We have enough to eat. We have a computer. We have Wi-Fi. We can survive, please God. We can survive this with care and being careful and safe. We have so much. And despite all that, we're still living the challenges of what's going on today. And often that challenge for many of us is loneliness, is separateness, is being taken away from the people we love, not being able to be near them, not being able to travel to see them. I can't hug my grandchildren. It makes me absolutely crazy, as I'm sure it makes all of you crazy. Not to be able to connect in the way we're used to connecting with people we love so much and people that are in our circles that radiate out. There's lots of us that are feeling the burdens of what's going on right now. And that's part of our story that we're building right now. And I want to link it to that, just a little piece of a story that you might not know in the Midrash about two of the people who followed Nachshon into that water. And their names were Shimon and Reuben. And they weren't the leaders, they were just regular folks. The Torah says 600,000 people went out of Egypt. So they were two of the 600,000. They happened to be friends. They worked next to each other building the pyramids and making bricks. And they saw everyone else go in. They weren't so excited about it, but they started in. And they start walking, and Reuben says, "What is this? There's mud everywhere. This is disgusting. I'm knee deep in mud." And Shimon says, "You're right. This is just awful. I can't stand this. This is horrible. Why did God bring us here just to put us in the mud?" And not once did Shimon or Reuben look up to see two big walls of water being held up by Moses holding his staff, 600,000 people escaping from slavery in Egypt. And finally, Shimon says, I'm thinking about going back. There was mud when we were making bricks, and there's mud now right here. If this is freedom, I don't want to have anything to do with it. What do the rabbis of the Midrash say about Shimon and Reuben? They say, most of the time we have miracles all around us. Not as big as splitting the Red Sea, but some miracle. And Shimon and Reuben never lifted up their heads. It's a very, very good story, I think, for today, for what we're living through. Because there are lots of miracles all around, and we have to find them. And sometimes we have to work really, really hard to find them. People reading right now, I read online and I hear commentators talking about people reading a lot of books about plagues, about old plagues, plagues from thousands of years ago, plagues that people imagined are going to happen. I remember reading Love in the Time of Cholera. And I feel like what we need to do now is collect stories called Miracles in a Time of COVID. Things we see, miracles that we see in the time of COVID, because those are the stories that keep us grounded, not in the mud, not in the mud, but back in that place I was talking about when we started, that place where heaven and earth meet. So I'm going to tell you one story I heard that made me feel that way. And some of you might have heard this story. Israel has done a pretty good job of containing the virus. They did at the beginning, and then they had a surge like we're having, and then it went down a little bit. But at the beginning, when not a lot of people knew what was going on, they had just a few hospitals, and all the COVID patients in Israel were sent to just a few hospitals. And one of them was Shaarei Tzedek Hospital in Jerusalem, which happens to be a hospital mostly frequented, but not only, by fairly religious people. It's in that part of town. And also a lot of the doctors there happen to be Orthodox and more on the more traditional side. And I heard this story told by one of the nurses that all of a sudden her life changed. She was a young woman in her 20s. She'd been nursing for maybe 4 or 5 years, and she was assigned to the COVID ward. And she started working, and she realized very quickly that this was not going to be just nursing, that this was going to be social work and psychology and a lot of hard hands-on being at bedside sitting work, because the people she was treating were all alone and they were very sick. And she describes what her days were like, how long, how hard, how fearful, how scared she was for her patients and how scared she was for their families. Because she was young, she was the one that rigged up a video so that the patients' families could talk to their loved ones. She rigged up FaceTime from her own phone so that they could be in touch with their family members. So she describes this one day. It was a very, very long day. She was completely exhausted and she was worried about going home. She lived with her parents, to her own family, because she was afraid of infecting them. And she was in her head making her plans, how she would go home, how she would take her clothes off, how she would shower. Maybe she wouldn't go in the living room, maybe not the kitchen. And all this is going through her head. And all of a sudden, she hears singing. And she goes back. She was going to go home. She goes back. And in the COVID ward, all the patients that could had gone into one room because they were all infected already. And they were praying the Kabbalat Shabbat service because Shabbat had started. They were praying together. She realized in that moment that there was one minyan praying in all of Israel at that moment. All the synagogues were closed. All the people were denied access to minyanim. But in the COVID ward, they were praying. They were praying together. When I heard that story, I thought, she looked up from the mud. They all looked up from the mud. They brought together an impossible minyan. And she said, which of course warmed my heart, she said, men and women praying together. Which, of course, would never have happened in that hospital any other time. So I just love that story and the opportunity that she had and that we have in hearing the stories of understanding that we can lift up our heads from the muck, from the loneliness and the depression, and figure out ways that we can see the miracles indeed that are all around us. So we have enough time, I think, Julie, to go into some breakout rooms, because I would love for a few people at least all to get in little groups to tell each other maybe one story where you feel like you heard a story, or you can tell it happened to you, where you feel like you kind of got your head out of the mud of this time that we're living in, and it breathed new life into your space and allows you to find that place where heaven and earth meet. So if you have a story, keep it short so other people in your little breakout group can have a chance to tell a story too, maybe 2 or 3 stories. Julie, I don't know how many people are on the call, but maybe we can have 4 or 5 people in a group.
Okay. So why don't I do 9 rooms? And that puts, well, no, I'll do 10 rooms. That puts 4 to 5 per room.
Great.
All right. And how long would you like these to run, Rabbi?
Let's do 10 minutes.
All right. So we'll see
I
you
think
all in
that'll
10
give
minutes.
people time. Okay, see you all soon. Have fun.
Hal, do you guys need some help going into your room? Do you need me to put you in your room? Or are you having a hard time getting in?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting in.
Okay, I'll put you there. Let me find out where your room, here you go. I'll move you there. There you go. Oh, you left your room.
Yeah, why not?
Why
Someone
not?
said the other day, it gives me joy to see those tulips. I said, oh, keep them on there because
Yeah.
it makes people happy, you know? It's inspiring. We look forward to the spring and we look forward to the tulips and
Yeah,
it's all about hope. It's about hope. Yeah.
it is about hope. Hope and miracles, right?
Yes,
So is Julie, is everyone back now?
I believe they are. Everyone
Okay,
who
so if
came back, yeah.
if anyone had heard in their little group an inspiring story that they would like to share with everyone, and whether you told it or you heard it, I would love to hear at least one of those stories. Anyone want to raise their hand? Julie, you're looking.
Yep, Helen Ann has her hand up, but she's got to unmute.
Okay.
You got to unmute, Helen Ann. There you go. That's good.
She's
Oh
still
no, I
muted.
guess not. Helen Ann, you're
Helen
still.
Ann, you
you're
have to
still.
unmute.
I nominate Sue Adler-Bressler. She has a wonderful story about.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, Sue, go for it. You're nominated.
Okay, let's see if I can make it work. Hold on.
I've already unmuted you. You're good.
We hear you.
I apologize. It says my internet is unstable and I go from hearing to not hearing. So hopefully you'll hear before I lose. I was just sharing the story of how the first time we got to see our grandkids, and everybody of course was worried about spreading COVID, and especially to my mother-in-law, who we were also seeing during our trip to Los Angeles. But we were missing the kids so much and missing that contact that we visited with Dave's mom, and we brought her to see the kids and everybody social distanced. But then our kids said, well, when you drive out of town, when you're going home, so not to go back to grandma again, you can come and swim with the kids and you can touch them underwater. And so we did, spent like 3 hours in the water. We were totally, you know, total reasons. But underwater, we hugged. And I will never forget that feeling. It was enough. It was more than enough, you know, to really have that contact. And the kids got it, and we kept going underwater and hugging. It's bringing tears to my eyes. We're going down next week again, and we'll be able to touch outside of the water this time. But you know, when there's a will, there's a way to make it work, and that was a miracle.
And I get to thank Sue, because not only did she tell me that story, but then she hosted me and my grandchildren at her pool so we could hug underwater for my grandson's 6th birthday. So it was a double miracle, hers and ours. So thanks, Sue. And it's true. All we want to do is be underwater and hug those kids that we can't hug. So we have just a couple minutes left, so I'm going to ask if there's even one more really short story that someone heard or wants to tell of their own. And then I'll end with one quick story as well. I'm not seeing everybody's hand.
Jeanette, go ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jeanette.
So, hi. Another grandchild story. I got to drive to Seattle when my second grandson was born, May 31st, or I got to go 2 weeks after he was born because my doctor said I had to wait and I couldn't fly. But I got to hold my new grandson, Asher, when he was 2 weeks old till when he was 3 weeks old. And it was just amazing to get to be there, because the whole time during COVID, I thought I wasn't going to get to go at all. And then driving was grueling, but worth it. Anyway, I got to hug everyone within that household. So I got to hold my 3-year-old grandson, Theo, and the baby, and hug my daughter and son-in-law. And it was just amazing. So.
You're in gold.
Is there another one?
Karen,
great.
you're not unmuted. I asked. There you go.
I drove down to LA, picked up my mom, and we're at my brother's house in the Palisades. And
I thought I saw your mom there. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, it's my mom. I quarantined and brought my dog, and yeah, so something sort of similar. We, if you don't know me, my mom and I have the pleasure of traveling once every 1 or 2 years together, and so this is our trip. We came to my brother's house. He's out of town.
Fantastic.
Really nice to see everybody. Thank you so much, Rabbi. That was your story, was a miracle.
Well, I want to tell one more story. I talked about delivering for Meals on Wheels, and I had a little orientation, and I learned what it would be like, and I got my route, and I, as I said, we're all doing things out of our comfort zone, and it's not that I'm not used to greeting people and being with people. Certainly have done that a lot in my life, but this is a new kind of situation. And I was a little bit nervous, and I looked at my route, and I just have to remind everyone that I'm a tennis player and a tennis fan. So one of the things that COVID has done is taken tennis, at least professional tennis, mostly out of our lives, and just beginning to play tennis again. So that's an aside, just in case you didn't know me. So I looked at my list, and I went to the very first door, and we had strict instructions about how to knock and how long to wait, and we can't leave the food because the food will spoil and someone might eat it. So I followed all the protocols. I rang the bell. I stepped back so I wouldn't be too close to someone. And waited and waited and waited and waited. And I'm looking at my watch because I'm supposed to wait 5 minutes. And at 4.5 minutes, I rang the bell again and I knocked hard on the door just in case someone couldn't hear. And gets to 5 minutes, 5.5, and I'm so determined to deliver my first meal. How can I not deliver my first meal? That would feel so frustrating. So I waited 5.5 minutes. I knocked again. I rang again. And finally, I hear this faint voice. I'm coming. Oh, good. Okay. So I step back and the door opens and this woman opens the door and she said, I'm so sorry, but Serena and Venus were playing and they were playing such a good game. I just couldn't leave. And I wanted to say to her, I love you. You are my friend. And instead I said, who's winning? How's Serena looking these days? And we had this great conversation about who thinks who is going to win the US Open and should they be playing or not playing. And she got her food and I got over all my jitters. And God was with me. Heaven and earth touched, certainly, that she was my very first delivery. And I've since delivered quite a few meals, but none of them that was quite as memorable as that one. So there are moments that come very unexpectedly where heaven and earth touch, and the power of stories to keep us connected to our memory, to our Jewish life, to our history, to each other is just beyond words. So I hope you guys keep telling lots and lots and lots of stories, and keep those stories for those moments when it is hard, and I know it is, and that they can give you that sense of strength and hope to go through these next weeks and months. And I wish you all a Chodesh Tov. Tomorrow we enter Elul. There's lots of stories for Elul, and most of them are about becoming better people. So I hope that we do see each other in some of the Elul teaching and learning that we'll be doing the next 40 days, a good number for Jews. And I look forward to seeing all of you then. And thank you, Jan and Julie, so much for arranging.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi, so much.
Good to see you
We
all.
love you.
One
I love you all.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Stay well.
Stay safe and healthy,
Wonderful.
please.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget to vote, 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 vote.
Yes.
Vote.
It's been a pleasure, Rabbi. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Rabbi.
Look
Thank you
forward
so
to seeing
much.
you throughout the next month or so. A
You
lot.
will. You definitely will. Take good care, everybody.
Yes, take care. Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.